Hi, and in this video I'll be going over some melee DPS advice for the Elerethe Renferal encounter in Emerald Nightmare. This will cover heroic mode for now. Retribution Paladin specific advice will be covered in a video at the end of this series, so don't forget to subscribe for updates. So for an overall view of this boss, she exists in two distinct phases, spider form and bird form. Each form has a particular cycle of mechanics that can easily get out of hand if not executed in a coordinated manner. During the initial spider phase, there are three main mechanics of particular note. Probably the key one is necrotic venom. This gives you a debuff that counts down for 10 seconds. Initially it does nothing, but as soon as the countdown concludes, you'll begin dropping green pools of nastiness each second for 5 seconds. Melee DPS should have a small area assigned in order to drop them. It's very important to remember that you don't just drop one pool, so don't go out, drop a pool and then rush back in thinking you've dealt with it, because you're going to make a terrible mess. It might also be tempting for the first people to get it to drop their pools in a line in order to minimise damage to themselves. However, this can screw over the people to get it later, as they have to drop them on top of the earlier pools. Taking more damage in the process is not going to help them, and they might actually be encouraged to not quite drop them in the right area, so you end up with green pools everywhere. Ideally, you will pop a damage reduction ability and stack your pools as much as safely possible to cover as small an area as you can. This should leave more room for others later. Note that I'm not saying it's realistic to drop them all on the same spot, as the damage will ramp up too much and you are likely to die. Just do some stacking instead of the smearing them everywhere. The next mechanic is Vile Ambush. Here the boss climbs a web line towards the top of the cavern and then jumps down with deadly force. While the boss is in the air, smaller spiders appear which will be tanked in a group to be AoE'd down. The area where the boss will land is indicated by a very large green circle. The damage is physical. Being inside the circle when she lands is very bad, but you also still take damage outside it, so the further you can get away, the less damage you will take. The final mechanic of note in this phase is Web of Pain. This is a blue line that joins two random players. You take lots of damage if you remain apart, so you need to group up. If you get it, and especially if joined with a ranged player, you will need to be vocal and make sure the other player moves to you. It's not sensible for you to move out to ranged, but a ranged player can easily operate from melee. You may well be joined by Web of Pain when Vile Ambush is active. In this case, remember to communicate so you both know where you'll be going. When the boss changes into bird form, there are several new mechanics to watch out for. Razor Wing is a cleave that you have to take on mythic mode, but want to steer well clear of on normal or heroic mode. The way to do this is to ensure you are not positioned in front of the boss. The boss will also channel Gathering Clouds, which cause players to be pushed back. This does increasing damage the further away from the boss you are. You can easily push against this without movement speed boosts. The mechanic is more of a problem for range than melee, as they have to remember to move in before. Finally, you may be targeted with an ability called Twisting Shadows. This surrounds you with a vortex which you need to deposit in a pre-arranged location before it wears off. You can run over pools of venom to remove them while you move there, but it's important you don't drop it off anywhere near those venom pools. So the priority is to get to the drop-off point quickly. If the drop-off location is not close to the boss, bear in mind that you may be dropping off your vortex just as Gathering Clouds are cast. This being the case, you need a Warlock gateway setting up to get back into melee quickly, or depending on your class, a big movement speed boost. If you're likely to need the gateway, make sure one has been set up before you pull. The boss will then drop a series of feathers in an arc in front of her and bugger off to a different platform. Do not mindlessly run over these feathers if you are not assigned to them. Assuming you are not assigned to take a feather, you will need to get to the other side quickly, but be careful not to hit any of the spider eggs or you cause trouble for everyone. As such, I don't recommend using a movement boost, but a cunningly placed Warlock gateway can be useful for navigating across from the halfway point. This works well to avoid the vortex at the other side, which moves from one web path to the other. If you are assigned to take a feather, then that's a different thing. Wait until the spiders are gathered up and then stomp them using your extra action button. On the other side, the boss will change back into spider form and you have a simpler situation to the first phase with more chaos. It's essentially a burn phase where you need to keep venom pools and vortices away from each other. The other mechanics are absent, but the main concern is running out of room to move with the number of pulls and the number of vortices that will build up very quickly. So that's my melee advice for Elerethe Renferal. I hope you found it useful as always. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share. And until next time, I'll see you later.